Looks good, Monet, thank you.
My biggest complaint about having glasses is having to clean them. I was spoiled for the first 40-some years
I
of my
know.
life, not having to deal with it. Now,
I can't wear contacts.
I swear I spent half my time cleaning the glasses.
Maybe I should buy them off of Amazon.
520 packs.
That's like what these were. These were like a dozen.
You like tear off.
Just leave them everywhere. Readers.
Readers, yeah.
Like a dozen of them for like $10. The lenses are just ridiculously gross.
Got it for $2. It's terrible.
I'm going to call to order the Three Lakes Town Board of Supervisors regular meeting for November 1st, 2022 at 6:30 PM. We will start off with the Pledge of Allegiance. I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
May I please get a report on the agenda posting?
The Three Lakes Town Board of Supervisors regular meeting agenda for November 1st, 2022 was posted in accordance with Wisconsin Open Meeting Law.
Thank you. I would be looking for a motion to approve the agenda.
I'll make a motion that we approve the agenda in any order our chairman sees fit. Second.
We have a motion by Bowman, a second by Brisk. Is there any further discussion? If there is none, all in favor say aye. Aye. Those opposed, 4-0. I have several announcements. The first one being that the elections will be held on November 8th between 7 a.m. and 8 p.m. in this room, correct? We have an annual budget public hearing, an annual special town budget meeting, and an annual special town board meeting on November 15th, which is the following Tuesday. That will be, do we know a time on that yet?
5:30.
At 5:30 p.m. And then lastly, regarding elections, I turned in my declaration of non-candidacy today for the upcoming April election. So I'm encouraging someone else to run because I am not. So hopefully either someone at the table or someone from elsewhere will run in my position. I would be looking for a review and approval of the minutes from October 11th, 2022 special and the October 18th, 2022 regular.
I'd make a motion to approve the special meeting closed session minutes of October 11th as presented.
Motion by Olkowski,
Second.
second by Baltus. Is there any further discussion? If not, all in favor say aye. Aye. Those opposed, 5-0.
It'll be 4. I think Bruss was gone. Bone was gone. So it'll be 4.
Which one was he gone from?
If it's special.
Special.
On the 11th, yeah,
Yep,
sorry.
that's
4. Did
okay.
you vote?
Yeah,
It's all right. I won't count it.
Pay attention.
I'm sleeping at the switch.
So was I, because I didn't even notice you were gone. Looking for the 18th.
Simple point to bring up on those, I believe on the fifth paragraph, I believe our vote count is wrong. It says motion carried 3-0. I believe that should be 4-0.
He was absent and abstained. We tabled the October 11th.
No, we're on
To abs-
October 18th,
You-
regular meeting minutes.
No, on your paragraph. Are you referring?
sorry, Sue.
That's okay. Are you referring to the fact that the motion to table Bohm was at, and so that should be saying 4-0? Because Bohm was absent from the October 11th
Yep.
meeting, but if what you're saying is that he was present when the motion was tabled, then that would be 4-0. Is that what you're saying?
I think so. I'm trying to remember because I've read through it a couple of times.
It's something you'd have to review the tape on.
Well, motion by
By
Chairman
Chairman
Bruss that we
Bruss and
tabled
Bruss.
October 11th minutes until
Yeah.
the time,
And
so
and-
that
and I
should be
know I was there,
4-0.
So that's 3. And
So-
then I know Ella was there, so that's.
And Bohm,
4. Yeah.
Bohm was present on the 18th when we tabled the 11th.
I think
But I
3
didn't
is
vote
right
on
on
it.
that. I think 3 is
Oh, that's
right.
right, because you didn't
I didn't vote
Vote
on it
even when we
because I
tabled?
wasn't part of that discussion.
even tabling? Okay, then
But
the
there-
3.
No, I'm saying I
there were
think
5
3
of
is
us
right.
here. One didn't vote.
I want to say that Brisk was absent. Remember that? I don't know.
Yes, I was absent from the October 4th meeting.
But guys, the
No, we're
motion was
talking
by
about the 11th.
Chairman Bruss and it was seconded by Brisk. So
That we
that's
table.
People,
That's 2 people.
Okay.
And then me and Ella were here, so
Okay,
that's.
we'll give you 4.
Maybe
4.
We'll give you 4.
And
Math
then-
is hard.
So that was it, but I just wanted to point out.
So
that-
you're referring to tabling, the motion to table, that is,
No, I'm referring to the very last sentence.
It is the
Right, which
motion
is
to
to
table.
table. the motion to table.
English is also hard.
We're having a rough time, guys, rough patch.
So the motion to table is
Yes.
4-0. That is correct.
Yes.
Okay.
So
I
as
will make
amended,
that change,
as amended.
correct?
Did we had a motion and a second already, right?
No,
No.
Okay. I would be looking,
yeah, I would make a motion to approve the regular meeting minutes of October 18th as discussed and amended.
motion Okowski.
Second.
Second Baltus. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed, 5-0. May I move on?
You may.
Administrative review permit. You guys had this in your packet. It was approved by the Plan Commission. It was for a greenhouse. Am I thinking of the right one?
Correct.
Not there yet.
Yep.
We were talking about economic development just last meeting. This seems like it's economic development. Need I say more? I'd be looking for a motion.
I'm going to make a motion that we approve the administrative review permit application by Tammy and Gerald Krieger as presented, which was approved by the Plan Commission.
Motion by Bohm,
Second.
second by Brisk. Is there any further discussion?
I just wonder, I was going to ask Matt because he was there.
Yep.
This discussion about the portable toilet and
Yep.
eliminating condition number 9. Can you give me the brief on that?
Some of us felt, me being one of them, that thinking about the proposed business, we didn't feel that it was we did not feel it was probably necessary to have a septic system or something of that nature. The applicant proposed a portable toilet. Many members of the Plan Commission felt that was very adequate for this project.
Okay.
So I believe the intent, at least from the Plan Commission perspective, was to pass on recommendation of the permit, but suggested to do away with the county's condition number 9 toward the back.
I'm going to leave my motion as I made it, but I appreciate the information.
We had a motion and a second, right?
So your
Yes.
motion was as presented?
Mhm.
As presented,
And approved by the PC.
because they're going to further scrutinize it.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, this is the
Yeah.
county's deal anyway.
Yeah.
Well,
So is there any further discussion? If there is none, all in favor, say aye. Aye. Those opposed, 5-0. Veterans Memorial, since the person who's been the proponent of this is actually here, I'm going to call on him because I have just one question on this. I would have talked to you today, but I just missed you. What scope are we looking at this in tonight? Are we accepting it as a possible something to do in this space? Or are we looking at it from budgeting? Or are we looking at it from, like, what am I looking at it for?
We would like, our committee would like approval to go ahead. We're gonna, Delirious has done this model. We did, we've been working on it for about 7 or 8 months. We would like to put it over here.
So you're looking for us to accept that
Exactly.
location, and that's basically all we're looking at tonight.
Exactly.
That was my question. Okay. So you guys have in front of you the proposed Veterans Memorial, which would go in the lot right next to us here. And what we're discussing tonight is whether we're okay with that going on the town-owned property right next door. So I'll just open it up for discussion.
Do you want a motion and then we have a discussion, or would?
I don't know. Sure. If there's questions or discussion beforehand, just go with it. I'm not playing by the rules. I'm on short termer now.
Okay,
I'd make a motion to accept the proposed Three Lakes Veterans Memorial.
There you go. That makes it
as
easier.
Presented before us.
Motion by Olkowski,
I would second that.
second by Brisk. There you go. Now you can do whatever you want anyway.
I was just gonna say that I think that I wanted to commend all these people for their efforts in this project. I think that we have many veterans in our community, and we need to have a place to recognize and honor them. We need to show the people of our community, our children, that we appreciate and recognize our veterans and their service. And I just think it's a great location for it. I really do. And so that would be my 2 cents worth.
And I guess mine would be, and I'll ask Pat if it's okay. You have a lot of work into this already, but I think you were just hesitant to go any further, right? Without this discussion this evening.
Well,
You don't want to waste your time.
Exactly. I think that's it.
Okay.
I think it's necessary because it involves town property too.
I would agree.
Yeah.
And there's been
And
some
I think it's a
discussion on it.
Fantastic use of the town's property in that small space.
There was some concern because there were still some things going on in the building next door, but if those problems are alleviated, I'm fine with it. So we have a motion and a second.
And a
If there's no further discussion, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, 5-0. Giddy up. Discuss the clinic building draft lease. I have several things on this that I know it's missing, so I'll point those out to you right away, which are, in my opinion, the things that need the discussion the most. 6411, the liability insurance, you'll see I just placed X's in that portion of the contract. That is part of the old contract, and I think we can just carry those forward, carry those numbers forward. 5-4, I'm going backwards, sorry. The clerk wrote in taxes, which I was aware that there are no real estate taxes because it's town-owned property. However, personal property taxes still apply, and I also thought if for some reason it was sold during lease, just leave it in there. You could just add the verbiage if applicable. Going back again now, moving through the lease. When I get there, I just said I did not include a term. So we need to decide as a board, would it be a 1 year, 2 year, 3 year, 4 year, 5 year term? And then lastly, there's no talk of what it would cost.
I was just gonna say for the term, I don't know if it was your language or maybe existing language, but it was left as,
There's a
like
90-day
a
out clause.
mutual. What's it?
Yeah,
There's a 90-day out clause, but that's not the term.
No, right, but I think there was language in there, just, it would have to be a mutual agreement in writing or something.
Yeah, I added that. It actually wasn't part, but that's just,
I was,
that just lets you get out.
Right.
yeah,
I think there still needs to be a term.
I think so.
I do.
Yeah.
I do. And I
mean,
think
it's-
based on her original request letter of what she wants to install currently plus grow, I really don't have a time frame in, but I'm obviously thinking something longer than a 1 year lease.
Yeah, I was thinking 3, which had been the traditional term lengths of our ministry.
I was thinking
Aspires, yeah. Again, this is all open for recommendation, suggestion, but I'm just telling you what I know was missing from this. If there's more that was missing from this, please suggest. This was a pretty comprehensive lease that I found from another municipality and then adjusted for our needs, added, subtracted, multiplied, and divided. Those last two are super hard unless you have a calculator. So I guess I'd like us to nail down a term and then nail down an amount, I guess, and then we could get this back to her for her consideration. And then I'm sure she may have some things she may want to get back to us. And it might be rejected altogether. Hard to say.
And all this chiming in, I have one other point that can be now or later.
Go for it.
5-3.
Mhm.
I mean, I can read the language. I just wanted, I guess, to clarify. So my interpretation of that for everybody's sake, as for example, if the roof were to spring a leak, as an example, that would be her problem, not ours.
Yeah, it's a triple net lease, and it says shall not relieve the lessee of obligations to repair and maintain in good working order the roof, paved parking lot. Basically, it's saying, as you found it,
It's your baby.
correct.
The furnace dies, it's your problem.
It's the way it reads.
And I'm okay with that. I just want to make sure.
She may not be, which is why I'm saying, again,
I
we need to get it
understand,
back
which
to
is
her.
why I'm making it
Right.
very clear.
That was the discussion you guys left me with last time, was triple net terms, which is what these are.
So as far as the term length, I don't have a problem if it's 2 years or 3 years. I mean, 3 years is what it was before. It's still our building. If the town board decides not to renew the 3 years because we're doing something different, we always have that right to do that.
And then that's also the 90-day out.
Right.
Yep.
Right.
That's the 90 day. That's right.
So I don't know. I mean, do you want,
I think if we're breaking it up, I'd make a motion that we install the commencement or the term to 3 years. Or do we need to break it up and have a motion for,
or are you just
Um,
looking for some direction? And then we're going to go back over this.
I think what I'd prefer is we make a motion. I prefer we just discuss what changes we want to implement into it, and then we have a motion
Make a
to
single
present
motion.
this to,
okay,
is that okay?
yeah, fair enough.
What if,
So if we're all on agree, well, I guess we'd be voting on that once there's a motion, but 3 years, can we all just pencil in 3 years?
Yeah.
Then if you
I'm
don't
good
like
with
that,
3 years.
we'll vote on it and say no later.
Correct.
so
Okay.
you said you wanted to have the term, what else did you say you wanted?
The insurance, if you guys are all just in agreement, we'll take the what was in our previous one from, those were in the, and I was gonna put them in there and I should have, because I had it in front of me, but I thought maybe somebody would say, well, those are outdated, or maybe it's something we should check with our insurance company on and say, are these adequate coverages?
So 6.4.1 through 6.4.2.1, general? or all the way
6412,
through?
anywhere where I have the X's for insurance coverage.
Okay,
I thought it was just 1 and 2, .1 and .2.
yeah, I guess so.
Um,
Then this-
I would say let's use the ones from our previous lease, but also just run them past our insurance company
Okay, yep.
as to make sure they're adequate coverage. And if we're all in agreement on that, that's change number 2. Change number 3 could be pertinent to when I talked about real estate taxes. I think we could just say if applicable.
Sure.
So if applicable, the lessee shall pay the same blah, 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 blah. Just add that. You got that.
What number is it?
5.4, to say if applicable, the lessee
Oh,
shall
yep, I
pay.
have that, yep.
Okay. And then lastly, we just need to, from old, no, I can't even read my own writing. Right, we have to determine,
Base rent is pretty positive thing.
yeah. And this is tricky. I don't know. I wish there was the one night Mark doesn't show up, because Mark McCain would have a good idea of,
Yeah.
well, he would. He
He
would have a
would.
good idea of what like a going rate per square foot is. Does anyone here have a good idea of what a going rate per square foot is for leasing space in Three Lakes? Anyone? We're calling on audience participation tonight. We seldom do that.
I can tell you what we rent.
That would be close.
Summer.
Boy, I was hoping somebody would speak up.
Well,
If you're okay with sharing it.
yeah, as of right now, it's 650.
And how many square feet is that? Do you know?
Oh, 25.
It's smaller than the clinic, I would say.
It's smaller than that. I'd say 900.
Is it triple net? In other words, are they responsible for everything?
It is not triple net.
Okay, so triple net technically should be lower.
Yeah,
Correct. To leave
Um,
room for repairs.
but
Right.
we are raising the rent. Possibly.
would you guys consider 550 on a triple net?
I was in the 500 to 600 range in my head.
Yeah.
I mean, I know we had a stupid low lease with the clinic, obviously.
I had 600 in my head coming into this, but taking into consideration the triple net thing.
Can we pencil in 550 and then get a motion and then we'll vote on this and then we'll have discussion and we can
Okay.
probably then
Yeah.
negotiate if we want to negotiate out of those. Okay, can I get a motion?
Well,
Fi-
before we
five-
do that,
Go ahead.
I just wanted to say one thing. That I know where this started, and I know that it has to do with Marcy Davies. But I can't help but to think about how this is a town-owned building that's owned by the community. It's owned by everyone, which in my mind means that anyone and everyone should have an equal opportunity to lease this building if they want to. And a comparison of that would be, we didn't just put docks in out at Lone Stone so that the people that lived right there could rent one. Or it had to be opened up to everyone. There was like a lottery system. So all I'm suggesting would be, I think we should advertise this or make this available to see if someone else is interested. Maybe there's someone out there who also is interested.
No,
in
I think it's a
business.
smart idea. Let's
Like
approve the
take
lease and then
applications.
everybody can look at the lease and know what our expected terms are.
Absolutely. And maybe it'll spark up some interest. Somebody will come out of the woodwork that we don't know about. And maybe there's someone else that has some space that they would rent. Or,
Sure.
I mean, it's like a
Yeah.
win-win for the
I
community.
like that idea.
Sure.
Okay,
Okay.
fine.
Back to the lease. Did we get a motion? I don't think we got a motion, did we?
Well, Roger started to,
I
but he
started.
didn't get a second.
Yep. So I would make the motion that we offer a lease for a 3-year term at a base rent of $550, security deposit commensurate with that, including the insurance changes that we talked about, keeping previous language in 6412 and under 54 install if applicable.
Okay. We have a motion by Brisk,
Second.
second by Baltus. The motion we're voting on then is to accept this lease as something we would put forward to anyone who wants to consider leasing the space. We can, over the next several weeks, post on the town Facebook page, email page, anybody who's listening to the meeting tonight, the space is available, and this would be the lease terms that we're looking for, which may or may not be negotiable depending on what somebody
Right.
wants to
So
do.
I'll just let her know that at this meeting, the board decided to open this draft lease up to
Anybody,
anybody.
correct. And we should probably put a term on that. I don't think we want
As
to.
far as accepting applications.
Yeah, I mean, to
Yeah.
me, we should do that. All applications and
Applications are just a letter of
I
intent.
think it should be an application is, I think, a
Just
letter of interest
Right.
and, proposed use of the building.
Right, something like Marcy did, because I don't know. what
Correct.
we're gonna do.
Right.
Okay,
Marcy did it, the Parks Board did it, the Chamber all
Mhm.
expressed letters of intent.
Correct.
I don't think you can hold anybody else to a higher standard.
exactly.
So letter of interest, proposed use, and I would say prior to December 1st. Would be my suggestion.
Yeah.
How is this on the agenda?
Draft clinic lease, Marcy Davis.
That's what led me to,
Are we allowed to do that?
Well, that's why I'm saying it specifically said. I think that you're talking about the clinic lease. You are talking about a draft lease for Marcy Davies, which it is available for her, but you're also opening it
Okay.
up to others.
All right, as long as we're operating under the, right, okay. We have a motion and a second. If there isn't any further discussion. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Those opposed, 5-0. Scott Wisner sent in some comprehensive paperwork regarding a grant that he would like to apply for on some property adjacent to the building they already own. Scott put in a great deal of work on this, along with Jeff. The Jeff referenced in these emails, by the way, is not me. I'm far too lazy. Jeff Verdun helped him out a lot on this. They're looking at investing $1 million roughly in Three Lakes, and they need some assistance from the town to basically sponsor this grant for them. Again, going back to our discussions on economic development and the work that both Jeff Verdun and the Wisners already put into this, it's my recommendation that we work with them on this, and I will make a motion that we accept the request for a town-sponsored community development investment grant for the Wisners.
Second your motion.
Motion by Bruss, second by Olkowski. Further discussion.
I guess I was just wanted to make sure I understand right, or clarification. What all does the town need to do?
I had a discussion. You want to take this?
No, go ahead.
I had a discussion with the clerk today because that was the same question I had. There is definitely some paperwork that needs to be submitted by the town. The clerk and I discussed today. Is it lengthy? Not really, because a lot of the legwork was already done. In fact, if you look at this, they answered all the questions that are in the grant. The clerk is on board with submitting the application on their behalf. Will it take a few hours? Yes, but in the name of all the things we talked
So
about,
there is a formal application.
there is
Yes,
that we
and I'll-
need to
and I'll
apply
have some
for.
questions that I need to, but for the most part, it's just my time.
Aside from your time, is there a financial obligation of the town?
No, not to my knowledge.
Outstanding.
We have
So
a
it's
motion and a second.
perfect Private-public partnership.
Yeah, and I would encourage more people to seek these out. I'm really happy to see this because we've been met with a lot of people feel like we always tell them no and that we aren't trying on their behalf, but there aren't many grants available. And the person who knows which ones are is Jeff Verdun. That's what we give him money to do this for us on our behalf. Just most people don't take advantage of it, and you did. So kudos to you.
Well, thank you. We've spent a lot of time, we don't have a ton of money and we know what Three Lakes needs, we feel, but when we put it up to the board and you guys to look at it, one of our thoughts was, is this something that you guys think we need? And the people that we talk to and the people that come into our restaurant, everybody's like, yes, absolutely. And if we can make it big enough and we can have the parking for it, I think it would be a big asset for the town.
I can't promise parking.
I know you can't. We
Okay.
can make the building.
You notice there's about 40 new spaces though, all on Highway 45.
And that would cover me.
Just saying. All right, we have a motion and a second. Is there any further discussion?
Yeah, I just want to hit a hair further. You had educated me a little bit better on what some of the stuff that Oneida County and these gentlemen in here can offer, and this is just a great example of that. The timing is perfect.
Mhm.
So it's a good FYI, I think, to the public of some of the resources that are out there that maybe some people in town don't realize are there.
Well, the resources are there. It's just a matter of how ambitious do you want to be to do some of the work yourself. And this is a prime example of somebody who took the initiative and it's happening.
Well,
A lot of people just want us to walk them through everything
Find the grant, do all that.
and we don't have the person power to do
Well, what
that.
I'm saying is the county does have a few individuals that seem very ambitious to work
Now,
with.
recognize this is not a county employee. This goes back to a discussion we had last
Yes.
week where there's some confusion on Oneida County Economic Development is not a subsidiary of Oneida
And I
County.
do know that. I missed.
And he's been
Thank
working
you,
with
though. You're
the Wisconsin
100%
Economic
correct.
Development Corporation as well. Jim Rosenberg has been assisting Scott as well. So he's getting it from both.
I just wanted to say, I really like the project because it's an example of the private enterprise doing what it does. You see a need and you fill a need. And that's where I think not only our community, but as a society, that's what we need. We need doers, not talkers. So I really appreciate your efforts. Thank you.
And I would say it actually fills two needs. It's housing and another retail establishment. So
We have a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, 5-0. Giddy up.
I'll be in touch.
Second giddy up of the evening. A lot of giddy up going on tonight. I need an agenda though. Discuss types of building inspection under the UDC. I noticed something interesting in our packets on this, and I think it answers our question. Section 14.2 of our very own ordinances. The scope of this chapter includes the construction and inspection of one-family and two-family dwellings.
Built since 1980.
Right.
Right.
And it's since 1980
Yep.
presently.
Yep.
So I think we have the answer.
I think so too.
Good. I'm glad you agree with me. Does anybody smell what I'm stepping in here?
Not really. It's clear to-
The scope of this chapter includes
Yeah,
this
I
is
can
all
agree,
about,
but what are you trying to say?
Meaning 1 and 2 family dwellings
this is
that are
what
built after
our
1980.
entire chapter of the town ordinance on building inspections, and we're outlining what needs to be inspected. The scope of this chapter includes the construction and inspection of one family and two family dwellings. It's outlining what we said should be inspected when we wrote this ordinance.
Well, they also have additions and stuff in there,
Where,
or the proposal before us does.
right, but we had said we were very confused on what we thought needed to be inspected, but our own ordinance is spelling out what needs to be inspected. So I would like to just stick with our ordinance and not muddy the waters any further than we already have over the last 14 months.
I don't intend to muddy them at all. The only thing I would suggest is, let's say you were gonna build a 1,000 square foot addition on your house. Brand new addition. You probably gotta pull a permit for it, and it's new construction. It's an addition, but it's new construction that probably required a building permit. I don't like inspections any more than the next guy. But I think even our contractors are.
So are we drawing the line at 1,000 square foot addition, 100 square
It
foot
was an
addition?
example.
I would rather not muddy the waters because now you're requiring us to clarify how big of an addition. Does it include plumbing? Does it include electric? What if it doesn't? So now we're going to write, and we can, if you want to take the time to write all of this into our town ordinance, I'm okay with it. But then we have to sit down and put this on future agendas to write that ordinance, which, Matt, you bring up a good point. If you feel strongly about it, then we should do it. But then we're going to need to rewrite the ordinance
Yeah.
because we need to define all that.
I think,
Mhm.
I think what has shed clarity for me is that in previous meetings, we had confusion as to what used to be inspected, what was currently being inspected, and what our ordinance really said or not.
Right.
I agree with what you're saying, that this sheds clarity on what we had. And what really brought this conversation up was the confusion on what we previously did with inspections and what we were currently doing in the first half of this year.
Correct.
And now we have clarity and we have direction. And I don't have a problem with that.
Well, again, I get back to Matt's point. If you feel that something else, then you should vote nay or make a different motion.
I also think, to go along with that, you know, a homeowner, if they were building an addition, they can get it inspected if they want, you know, to make themselves feel better. But I'm just
not
saying,
even saying
we don't
go
have to
that far.
require it.
All I'm
Correct, and
saying
we do
is,
get people that call.
yeah,
We tell
you
them
know,
all the
like
time.
I'm putting an addition on my house. I would feel better. I got it inspected, but it's not required.
that's your
you know?
personal choice.
Right.
Correct.
Just my own mentality, guys, was bottom line, if you had to pull a permit through the county, to me, that would be a basic guideline. Okay, you had to build a permit to put that addition on your house, regardless.
But
of
you have
the
to pull a
size.
permit to put a deck on.
Right.
And see, I made that point last
Yeah, but
time.
you're not, or go ahead.
I made that point, Matt, last time because I thought that would really encompass what we were talking about. But then when Mr. Bruss made the same point about a deck, et cetera, that really doesn't achieve what we were trying to make it achieve.
I will say, and I'm glad you mentioned deck, because I'm smarter than this, but I just had a light bulb come on. A lot of the passion that I'm expressing right now isn't really about, I guess, necessarily general construction. I was thinking more specifically to electrical inspection, because that is what a lot of the discussion has really been focused around.
Then we should rewrite our ordinance to specifically address electrical inspections because again, it doesn't just mean addition.
Or I think we just leave it, and if you want an inspection, you can get it.
Well, I think in simplistic terms.
I think we need a motion.
Right, in simplistic terms, we're either going with and accepting the ordinance that we have, or we're wanting it to be different. And so
We're focusing on 14.2, the scope of this chapter. Nobody's looked at 14.5, the Wisconsin Uniform Dwelling Code adopted. And don't ask me
No, we did. And if you get
Don't
into,
ask me to read into that, but we did adopt that into this also.
Which is 1 to 4 family,
Mhm.
one single family. The uniform dwelling code is exactly what the scope of the chapter
Perfect.
is. 1 family, 2 family dwelling since June 1st, 1980.
I think it includes mobile homes too. Correct me if I'm wrong, but if you read 10166, which is comprehensive, which I did read,
That are not covered. Yeah, manufactured mobile homes are not covered.
under UDC. So I have it backwards.
Yeah, are not covered by the UDC. The following are not covered: dwellings built before 1980, manufactured or mobile homes,
I
multi-unit,
swear that
and
it's in,
detached garages or accessory buildings.
I swore it was in 10166, but maybe it said it was excluded.
What-
Manufactured
And then the other
homes would be covered.
What buildings are
Okay.
covered
The
by
other
the
thing
It's
that
fine.
we got hung up on was, you know, a tree comes down
manufactured.
and knocks down
There,
part of the
yeah.
dwelling.
Hmm.
So if you look at
Mobile
14.6B, restoration or repair of an installation to its previous code compliant condition as determined by the building inspector
Mhm.
is exempt from permit requirements residing, re-roofing, finishing interior services, all shall be exempted, so.
Right,
Because we were hung up on repairs too, if, you know.
and it's all already in our ordinance.
Correct.
So that's kind of what I was trying to make with my 14.2.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Is it's defined.
It's not broke, don't fix it.
So I'll take a stab at the motion. So I would make a motion that we continue with the inspections based on the ordinance that the town already has.
Okay, second.
Motion Bohm, second Baltus. Further discussion. I would go on to say that, and we should point out in the contract that that currently only includes the construction and inspection of 1 and 2 family dwellings.
I understand that.
I know, but I want the inspector to understand that.
You want that in the motion?
No, this is discussion, I
Well,
guess.
I would
So-
give him this.
Exactly. So, and we'll highlight this,
Yes.
this
Yeah, I'll give that to
14.2.
him.
Because I don't want him to come back and say, well, I didn't know your ordinance. I want it to be clear that this
Yeah.
is our interpretation
Right,
is 14.2.
yes.
So our expectation is for him to inspect 1 and 2 family dwellings.
Yes.
Okay,
And at a later time, if the
Okay,
town board chooses to go a
Yes.
different direction.
Yeah, so based on the ordinance
we
the
can do
town
that.
has, got
well,
it.
we have a motion and a second. Any further discussion?
I have a question on the very first page. And pardon me if I just don't get it, but is his term correct here, building permit fees? And that might sound like a dumb question, but.
I think it's probably supposed to be inspection fees. but-
Yeah.
Well, that's.
This
yeah,
isn't a
I thought
contract.
it was-
No, this isn't, this is just a price
Yeah.
listing.
See, again, this manufactured dwelling modular, I swear that that's in the UDC
You're right,
now.
it's here. There's 2 different manufacturer, because over here is a manufactured modular. This is a manufactured mobile.
Oh,
So
Okay.
you're correct.
okay, okay. Anyway, we already made the motion in the second per our ordinances. And we don't have any further discussion. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed, 5-0. Whew. It only took 7 meetings,
Well, at least we have clarity.
we think. Operator's license.
Okay, I have 1 operator's license. It's for Susan Cody. It's for 2 years for Mollyville. She is a new applicant. We run her background. She's paid her fees, and I'm comfortable certifying that she meets state statute and our local ordinance.
I'll make a motion to accept the operator's license for Susan Cody as certified by Clerk Harris.
Motion Brisk,
I'll second.
second Bohm. Further discussion? If there is none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed, 5-0. Bills?
We have the biweekly payroll direct deposits in the amount of $26,764.71. The electronic payment of payroll taxes was $9,875.88. Electronic payment of retirement was $9,950.82. Accounts payable checks 54936 through 54980 were used to pay expenses in the amount of $956,835.84. The electronic payment of the employer portion of employee benefit was $2,945.60.
For a total of $1,006,372.85. These were distributed to supervisors in advance of the meeting. If you have any questions, please ask them now. Otherwise, I would be looking for a motion.
I will make a motion to approve the payment of the bills.
Motion, Baltus.
Second.
Second, Okowski. Further discussion? If there is none, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, 5-0. Did I say aye? I think I did. I got confused myself.
Okay.
Public comments? In the back.
In the back. I guess I just need to take a moment to address the assumption that there's no concerns with next door and the Veterans Memorial. I do want to say that we are supportive of the Veterans Memorial. However, we haven't seen any plans or any discussion, and it has not been posted as any kind of opportunity to see such a place. As Supervisor Bohm stated about the clinic, this is shared public property that it sees a lot of different uses. And I just want to reiterate that whatever goes in that space is going to get used by the public, and that includes small children and families. And we haven't had any conversation about that. There was a group that was put together and came up with a shared space that did include a Veterans Memorial. That got pushed aside. And I guess I would just like to make sure that what happens over here is, I'm also a short timer, but remaining in this community, there's a lot of interest from the community that hasn't had that chance that you're putting out an open lease. That discussion was had, there was an opportunity where a lot of members of different points of view of the community did come together and have a plan for the space. And now this is a single use of the space. And again, it may be that there is opportunity for other pieces in there, but we haven't had a chance to have that eyes and feedback on it. So I just want to make sure that it is known that there are other interests. And I'm not normally a computer in any sort of way. I'm usually a compromiser and a problem solver, but we haven't had that opportunity to participate.
I think that's why I asked for clarity on what the scope of what we were approving was tonight. And I think we approved it as a use, but we still don't have a budget, an approved budget, a fundraising plan, a bid. I think there's a long way to go on this. So
But just remember to keep the door open.
I would imagine that there's probably going to be, this should be discussed on a library board at some point. You know, there's a lot of work to do here yet.
Yeah, and I believe Ann, we've had people come to the veterans. I think Ann was at one of our meetings, so they are open when we had them.
Well, we've been, the thing is, we can't come to every single meeting, and they're just posted in Veterans Memorial. And the Veterans Memorial Committee hasn't met, they met once in September. And then, and when it comes to the Plan Commission, it's just posted as Veterans Memorial. It's not discussion, or it's not update, it's not approval. We don't know where we're at in the process. And so we haven't had that chance to.
Okay.
And we want to support it. We want to collaborate. We just haven't been at the table.
Okay.
We've got.
Erica, you're welcome to have this if you want it for your review.
If I could piggyback on that, because I attended all the green space committees, because that was the original committee that worked on the planning for that space. And I guess, like Erica said, nothing wrong with Veterans Memorial. I think it's a great idea. But I know what happened at those meetings, and for me, it's more a procedural issue. COVID kind of put a kibosh on things, and where that green space committee ended, they had gone to the plan commission, they had some things they needed to decide, those were decided on. And then COVID came and there were no meetings. And then the green space never met again. And then all of a sudden, there's this new committee. So, and the green space was never disbanded. And so unless there's procedural stuff I'm not knowledgeable about, as a citizen, that seems like a disconnect. You know, if the green space committee was done, and I know there are members of that committee that were never told it was done, then either they needed to be informed, your service is done, we're gonna move in a different direction, or they needed to be able to continue with the work without a need for this separate committee. So as somebody looking from the outside in, that's very concerning to me that we stopped one and created a new and nothing connected.
There's a recap.
That's
that I
not on
can
the
forward
agenda.
you.
I do not want to
Yeah.
discuss this.
Yeah, no, I'm just saying, from my perspective, my concern is more the procedural process.
The one thing I'll say is the town board did not create a Veterans Memorial Committee, I don't think. I believe the Plan Commission
No,
did.
Commission did.
So that said, but this is not an agenda item, so I'd prefer we don't discuss it.
Yep, go ahead, discuss it, but it
Du-
was the
duly
town
noted on
did
both.
create the green space committee, I believe.
As an ad hoc committee, which would be disbanded upon completion of the requirements, which were presented at an annual meeting.
Correct.
And
to
accepted.
proceed with a, what is this?
Okay, if,
No, it's just saying.
is that verbatim?
Yeah. Let me do that.
Okay, again, not on the agenda, so we're gonna move on from that. Is there any other public comments in the back?
in regards to the lease on the clinic building, there is the Main Street bounce back grant available to any business owner that signed the lease in a currently vacant space. And that deadline has been extended through 12/31. So just to make you aware of that, if you're gonna accept proposals through December 1st. I know Marcy, for instance, has asked about that grant. They need to be able to present a signed lease by 12/31 to probably the WEDC, someone at the state level. So if you can get a lease done and signed between 12/1 when those proposals come in and the end of the year, super. Otherwise, maybe think about shorter time for proposals so that that new business owner has the opportunity to get $10,000 from the state.
Okay, noted. Thank you. Anyone else?
Just two quick things. One, we had the drug kickback. We collected 30.5 pounds.
We sure did. I have a picture for you.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, today's door handle.
Not your fault.
That's-
Not your fault.
That's actually after.
Yes.
And also we'll on the December 2nd and 3rd, we'll be hosting snowmobile ATV safety course here for the town of Clear Lake. That'll be posted on for a while.
Can you make sure we get that in e-newsletter and Facebook
Absolutely.
post, please? Thank you, Scott. Appreciate it. Anyone else? If not, we're going to move into closed session. So I'm going to ask that everyone please exit while we do so. You can kill that, please.
I'll make a motion that we move in a closed session.
Can you pause just a sec? Can you pause just a sec,
Yep.
please?
Yep.